Hey BoLS fans, AdamHarry back again with another BoLS Retro Corner review. Today I have part 2 of the Chaos Codex. I did not expect this review to go to 2 parts, but I had to cut it short. Last time we were running a little bit longer than I was anticipating going through this book. Again, this is for the second edition of Warhammer 40k, again the Chaos Codex. 144 pages, mostly black and white. There is some color. Already covered a lot of that stuff, but I wanted to jump in here and show off some fun stuff. We stopped, if you remember last time, right before the Chaos rewards here on page 66, or 68, excuse me. So we stopped right here, and I did not cover this. I kind of had to wrap it up kind of quick, but we had just left off with the demonic psychic powers page here, and how that all works, how you roll for the number of demons in the unit. So, but I want to get into demonic vulnerabilities real quick. Blinding attacks, demons don't have optic nerves. Again, in second edition, if you didn't have eye protection, blind grenades, also gas grenades, all this other stuff worked on you. So demons don't have optic nerves, so they're not affected by that. Death Spinner and Harlequin's Quest, demons are allowed to take their demonic aura saves against these weapons, but are otherwise affected by them normally. D weapons worked a little different. Flamers, gases, toxins, all the stuff. It had special rules built in. It's kind of neat because reading this page, it kind of lets me see that somebody over there at GW was an overall editor and knew that there was going to be some issues popping up, and they kind of thought about that before they printed the codex and put them all out, and kind of fixed those issues, nipped them in the bud before they became a problem. So good job. So that said, let's jump into Chaos rewards. A lot of these rewards are still around, or maybe slightly modified versions of what they are in the current Warhammer 40k edition. So, for instance, Beast of Nurgles, Nurgle's Rot, Cloud of Flies, most of the stuff's still around. Plague Swords, still poison causing wounds on a roll of 4 or more, regardless of how many wounds they have. So, Clear, Axe of Corn, D3 wounds basically. Collar of Corn, that's changed slightly. Juggernaut of Corn, again, crazy, awesome. You get the characteristics and special rules of the Juggernaut, and they're in this book here. Praise of Corn is a ability here. From last time, Corn was not only about getting the extra attack, but also about having better armor than everybody else. Praise of Corn lets a model retake a failed armor save. And note, this is only for armor saves, not invulnerable saves or anything else like that. But that'd be pretty cool. It's a 20-point upgrade, but man, if everything's running around with the 2-up armor save, yeah. So yeah, get that reroll. Tzeentch, Breath of Fire, Destiny of Tzeentch, Disc of Tzeentch, Fortune of Tzeentch. The disc is still around. Destiny was something you dealt in the psychic phase. It was a little bit different, and then Breath of Fire has been changed and modified. So, and then Fortune of Tzeentch. Lore of Slaanesh, Gaze of Slaanesh, Scream of Slaanesh, Steed of Slaanesh. These abilities, just -1 attack here from the Gaze. Scream of Slaanesh models cause fear, so kind of like the Banshee Mask. So pretty cool. Icons, Rapturous Standard. Again, the icons really kind of gone away, but I mean they're still there for teleport. They used to be teleport homers and stuff like that, but this is kind of the standard. This is back when icons were standards, I should say. So, still around. Blasted Standard. This is kind of something. Blasted Standard's different, but I remember this. This is also in fantasy. Warp Banner, Flesh Banner, all that fun stuff. And then we jump into something I was looking forward to, which is the Chaos Wargear section. So in the Chaos Wargear section, they do talk about how a lot of these weapons are from pre-heresy weapons. So during the Heresy era. So they actually have a rule later on talking about if you want to use weapons from the Ultramarines Codex, you can, but there's a 50% points boost there too. So it talks about the different armor, power armor, special rules, all the good stuff. How Terminators use combi weapons and not storm bolters. So Twin Bolter, Bolter Meltagun, Flamer. They didn't really have Bolter Plasma. Reaper autocannons were also different. They had a different range chart and armor penetration. They were not assault cannons. They were different. Basic weapons, plasma, all that fun stuff. Plasma pistol. Close combat weapons. You have the chain axe, power mace, plague knife. Plague knife. That's basically the same thing. It will kill creatures on a roll of a 6, regardless of how many wounds the target has. So on a 1 through 5, the knife just inflicts 1 wound. So pretty cool. Blight grenades, those are still around. They could actually be thrown though, which you can now, so that's good. Blastmasters had this crazy template. Oh, sorry, the Doom Siren. But it's pretty crazy looking. It was a kind of an arc template, and you'd shoot a straight line, and it would hit everything that it touched. And then it was kind of like a flamer, but not quite. And then it would talk about the different ranges, how far away you were, the strength of it that was traveled. So yeah, pretty cool. Sonic Blaster, sustained fire dice. Oh man, those things. Most of the time when I use them, they blew up in my face. I do remember playing one game of Gorka Morka where I rolled 3 3s and was super excited that the orc didn't kill himself. So anyway, Dreadnoughts. This talks about the special rules for Chaos Dreadnoughts with their Fire Frenzy and that stuff. That Fire Frenzy, you know, I remember in 4th and 5th and somewhat in 6th, Fire Frenzy was kind of a big deal. So anyway, Mark 1 Heavy Plasma Cannon worked a little differently than the other ones. Than that, and it also had the Twin Glass Cannon and basically all the different weapons you could have. So, and then the assault launchers, how those grenades worked, because you could fire them and can trigger one or both of its assault launchers. So pretty cool. And then just the Power Scourge, that crazy claw thing. Chaos Dreadnought armed with the Power Scourge gets +2 to its attacks and becomes flexible, lashing its arms and possible parry against. So pretty nuts. Just it looked nuts. Just a reminder what I'm talking about here. One of my all-time iconic favorite Dreadnought things, that thing, the Power Scourge. So, nuts. Want them to bring it back. But now they have whips. So, Power Claws, which we're all familiar with. Some more intro. This is about Lemon Russ attacking. So, get into the Slaves of Darkness, and this is where we get into the army list construction. This is where I wanted to spend the majority of my time today, going over the army list rules and army list construction, so about the squads and all that fun stuff. One of the things that really stood out in Warhammer 2nd Edition, 40k 2nd Edition, excuse me, was how you actually built your army list. It's very similar to how Warhammer Fantasy does it, where you have percentages. So 50% of your stuff could be spent on characters. Squads, at least 25% of your army points had to be spent on squads. Support, 25%. Could be spent on, up to 25% could be spent on support, and then allies were also a little bit different too. And you again decide the size of the game beforehand, and then get into all that other stuff. So gets into special characters and all that fun stuff. And then the Wargear list, again, post-heresy weapons, as I was talking about earlier, with the 50% increase if you wanted to use post-heresy marine weapons versus what they're included here. But then the points cost themselves are very wonky. And I'm glad they went back and kind of cleaned this up to make it simpler, not only math-wise, but also it's a whole lot easier to build a 1,500 point list today, I think, than it is back then with these weird number combinations, and actually hit right on the dot versus within a point or two. So anyway, you didn't have to spend a bunch of useless. You didn't have to spend a bunch of points on useless upgrades just to hit that 1,500 point mark, or 2,000 or 3,000 or whatever size point games you wanted to do. So. For instance, what am I talking about? Well, Terminator with the combi weapon Power Axe, 42 points, plus you had to pay the combi weapon. So it's stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. It just worked out weird. We jump into the Chaos Army list. So, first off, a Chaos Lord for 91 points. Really cheap, except when you start factoring into how you buy the Wargear, and then the marks that you want to get them, and all that fun stuff. Chaos Army Icon. So this was one choice. So one Chaos Lord was actually mandatory. 0-1 means you didn't have to take one, but if you took one, you had to have only one. We get into Chaos Space Marine Sorcerers. Sorcerer Lord, the top level 4 Psyker, 201 points base, versus a Chaos Lord was 91 points. So you could tell you could just get crazy. You could also make your Chaos Lord Psyker if you had the Markers Inch, but I wasn't going to get into that. A lot of crazy stuff here. The Greater Demons, Bloodthirster Accord was 300 points. Holy crap. Great Unclean was 275. Lord Change was 280. And Keeper Secrets was also 280. So, and then again, recapping of the stats there. Bloodthirster was definitely the close combat monster that he's always been and always will be, hopefully. So, and then just the different options there. Keep a secrets, lore to change, great and clean one. The different stats that we've kind of gone over already. So, but pretty cool. And then you had to pay point cost for armor, for Wargear upgrades, and all that fun stuff. We get into the champions. Again, these are all part of the characters of the army as well. So want to keep that in mind. This goes to your 50% character allowance. Chaos champions. A Mighty Champion is 58 points. An Exalted Champion costs the exact same as a Chaos Lord because they have the exact same stats. It's basically the same guy. So, neat there. Aspiring Chaos Champions were 30 points, which is a little high compared to what they are today. Chaos Space Marine Terminators, 51 points per model. That's also higher than it is today. So, going through... This is part of the squad allowance now, so at least minimum 25% had to be coming from the squad selection. So Terminators were part of squads, so you could have a whole army of Terminators, which was kind of neat. Veteran Chaos Space Marine squads. This is before before Unbound and all that fun stuff was a thing. So, yep. Veterans, again, weapon skill 5. Wargear. Bolt guns, where was it at? 2 models being equipped with weapon chosen from the special or heavy weapon selection, so just like today, except these squads were 3 to 5 Chaos Marines. So, and then you could have an aspiring champion lead them. So that was neat. Chaos Marine squads, these were squads of 3 to 9 and could be bought, you could buy in a champion. And up to 3 models being equipped with a weapon chosen from the special and or heavy weapons list. So you could have 3 heavy weapons, you could have 3 special weapons, or some kind of mix of 2 and 1 or 1 and 2. So cool. Plague Marines 3 to 9. Khorne Berserkers could be 5 to 19 Khorne Berserkers. And again, both of these squad, Plague Marines and Khorne Berserkers, you could buy a champion, obviously with the correct mark. Thousand Suns were 3 to 10, and you could also get a champion as well, or a sorcerer. Noise Marines 3 to 5, and can have a champion or a Noise Marine or whatever, expiring champ there. Chaos Bikers also 3 to 5. Point wise, let me start back here too. Plague Marines were 35 points a pop. Khorne Berserkers were also 35 points pop. So, man, if you had a squad of 10, you're already looking at 350 points for one squad of Khorne Berserkers. Hope you bought them a Rhino or some way to get there, because with that movement forward and they're running across the board, yeah, it's going to take a while to get those 350 points back. So unless you got in close combat really quick. So Thousand Suns, Noise Marines, those guys were 30 points a pop, and then Chaos Bikers 45 points. And then we get into the allies, the support section. This is where you buy your Rhinos. Rhinos are 50 points. Again, that's higher than it is now. A Land Raider 220 points. That hasn't really changed a whole lot. They're still around the same amount of points. The Chaos version, at least. Chaos Marine Predators 90 points. Chaos Space Marine Dreadnoughts 135 points plus weapons. You did have to go back here. Some of these did include the weapons, like the Land Raider did have the las cannons included. Predator, you could add the side sponsons just like you can now. And then the demons. Demons must be summoned to appear on the battlefield. So summoning demon section, which we went over last time. So you bought the points here, and then you had to summon them in the game. So yeah, it's worth bearing in mind that when summoned to the battlefield, they must be placed in units of 3 or more of the same type of model. So there's little point in taking 1 or 2 of any particular demon. So one way to sell things. So, but basically. You can include Fleshhounds if you had the Mark of Khorne running around. Same deal with Bloodletters, Beasts of Nurgle. We had to have a Nurgle mark running around. So yeah, summoning was weird, but it could be, you know, the crazy demon bomb from, was it 3rd or 4th edition? That's basically what that's based off of. So hopping in there. The Fiends of Slaanesh, doesn't that look like some kind of weird Tyranid amalgamation with Slaanesh stuff? It does to me. So then, cool. Plague Bearers haven't really changed style-wise too much. But was there anything cool that I wanted to call out here? I'm sure I'm missing stuff. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments. But pink horrors would turn into blue horrors with all that crazy stuff. That was another neat thing. But it got kind of bookkeeping and kind of annoying. So I'm kind of glad they changed it. A pink horror that is slain is replaced immediately by 2 blue horrors. So that could get really cumbersome really quickly. Jumping into the special character section now. In the special character section we're starting off again with the good Abaddon, the Despoiler, War Master of Chaos, He's a base cost of 150 points, but once you buy him as Wargear, he is 275. And that's been about the same points range since 2nd edition up until now. Been pretty neat. Weapon skill 8, BS 7, strength 5, tough 6, 3 wounds, 7 initiative, and 4 attacks. And then he's got his Wargear, of course. He's got to have the Talon of Horus, Chaos Terminator armor, and his sword, Drakian. So the crazy demonically bound weapon. So going on there, he has all the Chaos God marks, so that just gets crazy. It's not that complicated, but you know, the 2-up from having a Khorne mark, and then Nurgle +1 toughness, all that crazy stuff. So he's a Chaos Space Marine, so he does have the rapid fire rules, and then he's also immune to all psychology and cannot be broken. So pretty cool. He's got a bodyguard rules and stuff like that. These are the Wargear things that are actually listed later on too, in the Wargear stuff over here. So, but listed here. Talon of Horus has a sustained fire dice, 1d6, or sorry, 1 die for sustained fire. Close combat, it has parry rules and strength 8, D3 damage, and a -5 save, basically a power weapon. Chaos Terminator armor, 70 points, and again, they added all that for you. His demon sword, close combat army, only see above. Any hits inflicted by the sword will automatically wound, and the victim receives no saving throw for armor, though unmodifiable invulnerable saves can be taken as normal. Vehicles struck by the sword have their armor penetrated automatically. Psychers and demons that suffer a hit from the sword will take D3 wounds instead of just 1. So auto pen, pretty dirty. It also had the parry modifier, so you could reroll some stuff, or cause you to reroll 6s. So Karn the Betrayer was 1 in 57, but he was 217 after Wargear. And Karn also pretty much unstoppable attack. He's always going to hit somebody. That's what I liked about Karn. It doesn't matter what weapon, he's always going to hit something. So if you're one of his buddies, he's going to stab you on a 1. But anyway, he's got some extra movement stuff too. Praise of Khorne, so you can reroll his armor save. Blood Fury of Khorne, and then Gorechild. He can reroll any 1s on his attack dice. 1s were fumbles in 2nd edition, so that caused you to have a negative to your attack stat. It was weird, but I'm glad they cleaned all that up for 3rd edition, so they changed that around. Stat-wise, Karn still a beat stick. Weapon skill 9, BS 7, strength 6, tough 5. He has 3/6 wounds and 7 initiative and 3 attacks. The wounds were from one of his special abilities here. This right here, from the Blood Fury of Khorne. So double the normal wounds of an Exalted Champion. It's included in his profile. So that's why they have the weird 3 parentheses 6 wounds for Karn. And Gorechild, close combat, reroll fumbles, strength 7, 1 damage, save is -4, and the armor pen was 7 plus D6 plus D12. Because they wanted you to roll lots of dice. It's pretty crazy. Fabius Bile is 200 points, and that's his stats. He rolled crazy random. D3 plus 3 movement, weapon skill was D6 plus 2, BS was D6 plus 2, strength was D3 plus 3, toughness was D3 plus 3, D6 wounds, which is really weird. Initiative was D6 plus 2, and D3 attacks, and then leadership 10. So surprised that wasn't random as well. And then you had crazy, warrior stuff like that. Enhanced warriors. You could do add stuff to the troop types, and he had the Rod of Torment, and just a bunch of crazy. The Needler pistol was also pretty nuts. They have different to hit plus to modifiers. So for instance, +2 to hit for short range, and +1 to hit for long range. So of course he's rocking that D6 plus whatever. Ballistic skills, so you might need those +1s if you rolled pretty crappy. So, moving on from Bile here, we look at Hurrion Blackheart, the master of the Red Corsairs, Lord of the Maelstrom, Tyrant of Badab, the Blood Reaver. He's 117. He went up to 152, and then I want to check real quick too. He's equipped with a power axe, bullet pistol, frag, and crack grenades. He's got a regular power armor. He can have 3 warrior cards normally. However, his reaving has provided ample opportunity for him to gather more rare and unusual wargear, so he may take up to 4 warrior cards. The first card he must choose is always the Tyrant's Claw. And the Tyrant's Claw is the wargear with the built-in flamer template. Close combat, it's basically a power fist, power claw, whatever you want to call it. So, built with a built-in heavy flamer. Armin was 316 points after Wargear. Pretty nuts considering the big bad Abaddon was 275. So that's how much they valued psychic powers. And then just a whole lot of backstory going through Armin. So Armin, also V-Stick, Weapon Skill 7, BS 7, Strength 5, Tough 5. Just all around tough guy. 4 wounds with 3 attacks at Initiative 7. 3-up armor save, that hasn't changed too much. He's got a bunch of crazy Chaos rewards and Wargear. He must take the Chaos reward Destiny of Tzeentch, the warrior cards Black Staff of Armin, and Inferno Bolts. The remaining Chaos reward warrior can be chosen by the player, so you can tweak him a little bit. So, but he's already clocking in at 316 points, so it's quite a bit. Inferno Bolts was what special Tzeentch guys got to use in their sorcerers could use in their bolt gun or bolt pistol. They've been inscribed with arcane runes. Basically, same effect as the Tzeentch Firestorm power. However, the strength value of the storm is equal to the mastery level of the sorcerer using bolts instead of normal strength 5 targets. So, yeah, pretty crazy. Destiny of Tzeentch also included, and then another short story, and then some designer's notes here from Andy Chambers talking about how he's loved it. Yeah, Jervis. Yeah, him and Andy worked on this book together. And then we get into the painting section again, / Wargear cards. I don't really understand why they did this from a design standpoint back in '96, but this was something they did. Again, more cool pictures, the really cool Chaos Predator I mentioned last time. But then they start with these little data cards. I guess you could cut these out or photocopy them, however you want to do it, and then have a quick reference stuff. I guess that's why they did it like this instead of just having the book. But again, armor penetration was a lot different. The Land Raiders front armor. So Land Raiders here, Chaos Predators here. Land Raiders armor on the track was 17, hull was 22. Yeah, you had to roll a 22 plus on the hull to get an armor penetrating hit. So pretty crazy there. And then we've got the Chaos Dreadnoughts and the Chaos Space Marine Rhino. I like the fact that I guess they forgot to include the pictures, so they have these icons instead. So there you go. And then their armor there. So there's a Rhino's armor. That's hull 20 from the front, and the Predator, or sorry, the Dreadnought had an armor 18 on 21 on the body. So Chaos Space Marine bikes, they had those guys. Chaos, how those vehicles work, brand value, speeds, all that stuff, up to 30 at fast speed, pretty cool there. And then we have the Black Grenade markers with the Doom Siren template. That was the thing I was talking about, where it would shoot and hit all the guys in the line. So permission granted to photocopy for personal use. those Black Grenades. And then the Chaos reward cards. I guess if you wanted to cut these out and have them randomly, like a little card deck, you could do it that way. So, but it just lists all the Wargear stuff that we've already gone over in these cool little cards, and then more Wargear and Chaos vehicle upgrade stuff. So, yep, flipping through all that stuff to cover most of it. And then we get finally to the Lost and the Damned section of the book. Alright, as we enter this part of the Codex, the Chaos Cult and Demon World Army List, a couple things I want to point out real fast. This appendix was kind of a side project / abbreviated thing. So what they mean by that is this should only be used against an opponent who has agreed to use it before the battle takes place, and should not be allowed in tournaments without the organizer's consent. So to all the people that say GW never cared about tournaments to begin with, I point to stuff like this where they reference like saying, hey, actually we do think about these type of things, but it's kind of up to the TO, the tournament organizer, to have the discernment whether or not they want to use it. So, but they do call it out, and they talk about it. The cult lists are not super competitive, where the Demon World armies are really powerful, and again, they're intended for scenario play, for narrative campaigns, stuff like that. So that said, we'll jump into the Chaos Cult armies, how they're undivided. Some worship just a single power and all that fun stuff. Demon World armies, obviously, those are all demons. So the cult army list, again, these are abbreviated. So Chaos Cult is the demigod, that's the leader. You have to have one of those guys armed with a last pistol. I mean, these are basically not even Marines. These are just guardsmen. So I mean, stat wise, he's kind of beefy, but everybody else, the Magus, Chaos Magus is well, we'll start here. The Demagogue is movement 4, weapon skill 5, BS 5, strength 4, tough 4, 2 wounds, initiative 5, 2 attacks, leadership 8, and then we go look at Chaos Magus. He's mostly 3s, weapon skill BS and strength 3, tough 4, initiative 4, 1 attack. And then the Magus Champions is a slightly buffed up version. And he had 0-1 Icon Bearer, an Acolyte, tough, strength and tough 3, so Guardsman toughness and strength, but their weapon skill BS 4, so a little bit tougher or a little bit better at shooting close combat. Beastmen can be included. Beastmen were in 40k, and you could bring them in a cult list, so pretty crazy. Chaos Cultist Coven, they were 4 points per guy, and they're no better than a guardsman. They're actually worse. Their weapon skill BS 2. They are strength toughness 3, so they're just dudes. Chaos 1 Beastman pack per Chaos Coven. So for each one of these, you could have one of these and have a Chaos Beastman, which was basically a guardsman with an extra toughness. So pretty cool there. Beastman Champion, and then just their abbreviated Wargear list that they could have. And then they get to the power lists, which are the Demon World army lists. And these are, again, these lists were designed pretty tough. Demon Prince's reference, see Demon Prince character section. The greater demons, those are almost the same. They're a little bit cheaper points wise than their counterparts. About 15 to 20 points per guy. So, but the same stats and same special rules and all that stuff. And then you can mix that with Chaos Warriors and demonic icon bearers. But then the Chaos Magus, he's buffer than this Chaos Magus. So you only have Chaos Magus and Magus Champion, and here you've got the Chaos Magus Lord and Master. So those guys are more points and tougher stat-wise too. Beastman Champions, also again, Beastmen included still in this list. Demons and Warbands, you could actually buy these, and you did not have to summon these guys in. They just started because it was a Demon World army list. So you're fighting demons all the time. So Bloodletters, Hounds, and the points are tweaked here compared to before. So for instance, Bloodletters are 20 points here, and then way back over here, Bloodletters are 35 points. So I don't know why they got cheaper when it was harder to get them out with the summoning, but whatever. So you could actually field more demons with the Chaos World Demon army list than the regular army list, but you had access to pretty much everything. But don't forget about that animosity. And then you could throw in stuff like a Chaos Warrior Warband, or maybe some Minotaurs, or how about a Beastman, or maybe some Trolls, because that stuff was fantasy models that you could totally play on 40k. So pretty crazy. And they're demonic gift table, you roll a d10, and then the Chaos Spawn, crazy stuff, gifts of Spawndom with all their special rules, modeling Chaos Spawn. And then demonic prince characters, we had Doombreed, the Demon Prince of Khorne, which I think is making a reappearance now. He's 417 points, pretty beefy. I'm gonna butcher these names, but Nakari, Demon Prince of Slaanesh, Foul Spawn, Demon Prince of Nurgle, McCatchin, Demon Prince of Tzeentch. Again, sorry if I'm butchering that, but there you go. And they have a ton of special rules. I'm just gonna do Doombreeds because he's coming back out. He's a Demon Prince. He's movement 6. Again, he has wings. Here's fly. Weapon skill 10, BS 9, strength 7, tough 8, 8 wounds, 10 initiative, 7 attacks, leadership 12. That's right, folks. That's not a misprint. He's leadership 12. He went to 11 and then decided to go one more and went to 12. He's a Demon Prince. Hazelnish, Axe of Corn, Rod of Corn is in his left hand instead of the whip. It's a huge staff made of twisted bone that mirrors the mark of Corn at the head. Corn hates all magic users or psychic powers, and this rod is deathly bane to all such practitioners or sorcerers' arts. Any creature with psychic powers that is base-to-base contact with Doombreed at the start of the psychic phase loses D3 wounds. No save of any type is allowed against this damage. In addition, Doombreed use the rod in hand-to-hand combat where it counts as an additional hand weapon and strikes using Doombreed's own strength and save modifier. Strength 8 normally a -5 to your armor save. So pretty beefy. He's got the Chaos Armor, and it's basically 2d6 plus 2. Collar of Corn, Praise of Corn, Terror, and he does have Fly. So all these guys have a ton of special stuff. And then finally, the very last thing we get into is the Fallen Dark Angel stuff. Yes, Dark Angel players, haven't forgot about you. If anybody ever wondered why Chaos and the Dark Angels books came out close by, not only was it for the fact that box set, but also because they've always had a tight history because of the Fallen. So Cypher was the Fallen Dark Angel champion. Maybe he's not Fallen. Maybe he's actually one of the good guys. But anyway you look at it, he's part of the Chaos Codex. So, and his backstory is one of those things that's shrouded in mystery. And this kind of lights a match to a really dark room. It's just enough to give you a hint, but not enough to answer any questions. So just all the crazy stuff. He's 112 points plus the Mastercraft Bolt Pistol, 10 points, 15 points Mastercraft Plasma Pistol, dual wielding, and then plus 10 to 10 phase knife. So pretty crazy. He's hunted by Dark Angels. If you played Dark Angels and you fought against Cypher, you had a bunch of extra special rolls you had to do. But all that crazy stuff. But that's the final thing here, and then just last but not least, we got the reference pages here. So all that stuff, how the summoning stuff works, break down. But that is it. That is the second edition Chaos Codex, second part finished. Thanks for watching. A ton of info. Thanks for watching again. AdamHarry from BoLS signing off. Have a good one. Ha! Just when you thought it was over, I wanted to make one addendum real quick. Something I caught in the editing process, which I wanted to call out real fast before you guys jump down my throat. About the Demon Princes here, which I mistakenly called Demon Princes. Doombreed is not a Khorne Bloodthirster. He's a Demon Prince. The reason I got mixed up in my headcanon is because whenever anybody played with Doombreed or any of the other big Demon Princes, they used the models for the Bloodthirster, the Great Unclean One, etc., etc. So I apologize. I got those mixed up. They never actually had models for these guys. So unfortunately, but they should bring them back is all I'm trying to say. Thanks for watching.